Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, and I go, Harimo, 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 Guru Harimo, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. And I go, Harimo. Please listen now. Harimo, Guru Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narayana Devim Saraswati Jaya Mandirayat. Now surprise you about the Suniti Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Namaskritya Bhagavati. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 12th chapter, verses 31 and 32. There's no purport in 31, so I will read the 31, then I go further to 32. Sarajaputro Bavride Asusukla Iboduba Uriyamana Pitribi Kastabi Ibaso Umbahani. As the moon in its waxing fortnight develops day after day, so the royal prince Parikshit very soon developed luxuriantly under the care and full facilities of his guardian grandfathers. So there is no purport here. So we move on to the next verse. Yaksyamano aswamedena jyati droha jihasaya raja labdha danu dadyau nayatra karadandabuhu. Yaksyamano aswamedena jyati droha jihasaya raja labdha danu dadyau nayatra karadandayoho. Word translation. Yaksyamana, desiring to perform Aswamedha. Desiring to perform Aswamedha by the horse sacrifice ceremony. Gyati Droha, fighting with king's men. Jihasaya, for getting free. Raja, King Yudhishthira. Labda Danaha, for getting some wealth. Dandyau, thought about it. Na and yatra, not otherwise. Kara duandayo, taxes and fines. Translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Just at this time, King Yudhishthira was considering performing a horse sacrifice to get freed from sins incurred from fighting with kingsmen. But he became anxious to get some wealth, for there were no surplus funds outside of fines and tax collection. Purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. As the Brahmanas,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Can't you, the place you are, it look like there's echo there, like you lock window and door, there's no any, can't you make it a little bit, because the echo is entering your mic, you know?
I don't know, I opened the window, so. Or maybe my voice is too loud.
No, but it's okay, it's okay. It's just like there's a echo at the background, it's okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I will lower my voice a little bit. Hare Krishna. As the Brahmanas and Vipras had the right to be subsidized by the state executive head had the right to collect taxes and fines from the citizens. After the Battle of Kurukshetra, the state treasury was exhausted, and therefore there was no surplus fund except the fund from tax collection and fines. Such funds were sufficient only for the state budget, and having no excess fund, the king was anxious to get more wealth in some other way in order to perform the horse sacrifice. Maharaj Yudhishthira wanted to perform this sacrifice under the instructions of Bhishma Deva. Om Jana Timrandasya Jana Kena Salakaya Chakshu Militayana Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistan Savitayana Abhutali Swayam Pankadama Yam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Mukam Karatu Vashanam Nagyate Green Yakripatana Sri Kurunjinatara. No. Bancha Kapatara Chakripasam Chapatitana Vaishnava Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Vidharas Prasad Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, everybody is welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. We feel fortunate to be called upon to address this issue. Generally, this particular topic is a very critical one because it relates to our situation. Yes, a leader, first of all, has to be proactive. He thinks ahead of time, he plans, he strategizes. And all this is predicated on his desire to make the state peaceful, his desire to provide sufficiently for the citizens, for the dependents. So he thinks ahead of time, he strategizes. You see, he makes plans. And when he makes plans, every plan needs some fund to execute us. So he plans for funds also. You see, so it is not out of place. Therefore, that devotees, especially householder devotees, they have plans to maintain a balance between Swadharma, their constitutional duties, and their conditional duties. There are two types of Swadharmas. There is the conditional duties. Then there is the constitutional duty. The conditional duties are duties based on his manner and his ashram. As a householder, you have a house to maintain. You have to pay for the bills. You have to provide for the wife and the children. You have to create flow. You have to fill the gas. You have to fill the gas, and you have to provide book. You have to provide school fees. You have to provide a place of residence for the dependents. So it is not out of place that devotees, especially householders, strive to make a balance between the spiritual duties and the conditional duties. So this is very, very important point. Presently, in our ISKCON society, many people have become householders. 99%. And actually, Gurudev said the householder ashram is most important. Why? The sannyasi ashram is most advanced, but the householder ashram is most important because 99% of our ISKCON devotees are householders. And it is the householders who live in the communities. We are a preaching movement. We are not going to preach to the animals in the bush. We are not going to preach to the fish in the water. We are going to preach to the human beings in the community where we live, especially. For a start, we have to preach to the human beings. We have to preach to the human beings in the cities, in the big towns, in our immediate community. So the householders are living among these people. They take job among these people. They interact with the people. Okay? And by quality interaction, the people can learn a lot. But if somebody just in the society and he sees a sannyasi, no, he looks far distance. You cannot go near him. He's seeing him in a far distance, dressed friendly, with every aspect of his dressing is strange, including tilak on his forehead, sika at the head of the back, and practically wearing dhoti, which looks like very strange, look like local priests, traditional priest type of dress. You see, and he carries a very big philosophy. So who is he going to preach this philosophy to? After all, we are not Mayavadi sannyasis, so we are Paripurachakacharya sannyasis. So if he's left alone and he's not going to interact with people, it will be difficult. If he's going to interact with them, only one is to preach to them. It's also not going to attract them. So when we have devotees living among the people, and they look at the life, the quality life of these people don't eat meat, they don't eat fish, they don't eat eggs. They are living very harmoniously. There is no fighting there. They don't steal in their interaction. They don't try to cheat people in their interactions with people. And they are very self-controlled. They are not seen in beer parlors. They are not seen in prostitution houses. But they are happy, generating happiness, contagious happiness to anybody that comes in contact with. They want to know, even though they don't see they don't know anything about your philosophy. By your way of living, you are actually preaching a lot. Even it is said that people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. If you are living in a society and you are doing good, you are being good to people, and like the kind of Food for Life programs we are having, we are feeding people free. We have a place for anybody that comes close. We don't discriminate whether you are from this or that. We accept everybody, seeing that we are also belonging to the same Father. People become attracted by such a life. Actually, devotees are very attractive. People are attracted to devotees. If devotees are actually living as devotees, people are attracted to devotees. They want to come closer and they want to know how these people become happy without taking intoxicants, without visiting clubs. That means there is a practical alternative way of life. People want to identify with that. They want to learn something from them. So the household ashram is actually most important in our movement. So how we are able to help ourselves or package our household life in a way that the householders have a balanced life. They are able to take care of their constitutional duties, which are the spiritual duties, and they're able to take care of their conditional duties, material swadharma and spiritual swadharma. Then there will be a balance. If there is a balance in that way, then the householders will be very happy. You will not see people getting lost, trying to make ends meet, trying to gather, trying to get some money in the process. They have to serve all kinds of people. They have to hide their identity, and they have to do all kinds of things. And in the process, they get lost. So this is a call for responsibility, first on the part of the leaders of the movement. The leaders of the movement represent the thinking faculty of the movement. They represent the head. It is the duty of the head to plan for the whole body proactively and actively. Yes, and interactively. So in other words, leaders are expected not only to be proactive, but to be interactive also. An interactivist can make a way where there is no way. He can study the environment, whatever he meets in the environment, he can use it as a raw material and process it, infuse some program that will benefit everybody that is concerned. So we need such leadership. Maharaj Parishit here is thinking of getting some wealth. We all know that, okay, not Parishit, Maharaj Yudhishthira. Maharaj Yudhishthira, his name is not mentioned among the 12 Maharajas. But we all know that he's a very great devotee, pure devotee of the Lord. He's a Mahatma. He's a Mahatma. But this Mahatma has the duty to rule the citizens. And it is him now who is thinking of raising some extra fund, because the fund collected from taxes and fines is not enough. It's only enough for doing some internal management, but it's not enough for doing something bigger than the immediate. So he's brainstorming on how to get some extra fund. You see? So this is where the question is. Before Gurudev left the planet, he was very much concerned about these aspects of our movement. Yes, I watched a video where he was speaking to the leaders in Mayapur that, look, we have to provide all the alternatives to these devotees. These people have left their homes, they have left their jobs, they have left their parents, they have left their schoolmates, and they are here with us. We have to provide some alternative, a way of life that will be fulfilling. You don't need to push them back to the people they left. It's like telling them to eat their vomit. You have to make arrangements to accommodate all the ashrams. They were brahmacharis before, but now they have become householders. We need to arrange, we need to plan in a way that they are heavily included in our strategic plan. So he was talking seriously about this. And in his book, he was mentioning that 3 basic things we need to focus on at this level of our preaching. Say 1, bridge making. Our preaching should be a type of bridge making, whereby you present the movement as a multi-socket where everyone can plug in to get electricity. A multi-socket. That means from wherever you are, you should be able to connect. We should design programs that will be able to connect people from wherever they are and gradually cross over to the other side of the bridge to be able to get what extra things we have for them. Our philosophy is very deep, but we have some common grounds with them. We should preach based on these common grounds, universal principles, based on common grounds, where we have mutual interest, needs, and concern. Then from there, we gradually bring them on board to where we are. So we need this type of preaching. And part of this type of preaching is establishing restaurants. You know, we have been vegetarians, we are vegetarians, we have the highest philosophy in vegetarianism. I don't know whether the vegans' philosophy is higher than ours, but I don't think it should be, because Krishna and Krishna satisfaction is included in our own. I don't know whether their own it is included, but they have a high philosophy. We have a high philosophy. If you look around in many cities, they have outlets where those who are practicing vegetarianism can have all the things that they need as vegetarians to maintain a balanced diet. So they are the ones who sell the chunks. They are the ones who sell the different varieties of chunks. They are the ones who have all the restaurants. They are the ones who have all kinds of programs. But we, in the ISKCON, where are our restaurants? In Nigeria, we don't have any functioning restaurant. In Ghana, we don't have any functioning restaurant. In many parts of Africa, especially, we don't have any functioning restaurant. Yet we carry the biggest philosophy. We carry the biggest philosophy. Sorry, okay, I cannot answer this one. We carry the biggest philosophy, so this is a challenge. Why? Why is it that we are unable to provide outlets? Why? Aribo, please, I am in a class. I told you tomorrow. Yes, I told you tomorrow, so please let's maintain that. I'm in a class. This is a distraction to me. I don't want to ignore your call. So thank you. Okay, so this is one challenge we have. Where are our restaurants? Where are our shops where we can buy these products for vegetarians? Where are they? Why have we not been able to establish them? Why? It's because we are not thinking of it. Because we are not thinking of it. So the frontliners should be proactive. They should think about this. Yes, when the inhabitants of Goku were faced with different kinds of attacks from different kinds of demons, immediately the leaders of the community sorry for the noise. Immediately the leaders of the community, they came together, including Upananda. Upananda was the head. And they planned, said, look, let us relocate. In between Talaman and Goku, there is a place called Vrindavan. There is a forest. In that forest, there are a lot of fresh green grasses. And there are a lot of fruits, a lot of waterfalls. This place is conducive for everyone. That means they were not only thinking of the human beings alone, they were thinking of the cows, where the cows will get enough green grass to eat. They consider that. Where they will have fresh water to drink after it, they consider that. Then the human beings who will take care of the cows, and when the cows are happy, they will produce milk and there will be abundance. We make can do all the chagias and there will be abundance. So they were thinking like this. Immediately they suggested it, and the elders agreed on it. Then everybody else followed, and they relocated. This is proactivity. So as leaders, we have to be proactive. Maharaj Yudhishthira is proactive. Is thinking of where to get extra from. So it is not out of place, I repeat, that householders make a balance. They live a balanced life. You don't belong to a movement when you have all the time to operate as a brahmacharis. You are very much welcome. And when it is time for you to operate as a householder, you are on your own. Something is wrong. We are not thinking all inclusively, and we are not being proactive enough. So this is one special point I wanted to point out. We have to live our lives in such a way that we maintain a balance. Yes, we must have our two legs on the ground. So if we are not there, that means this is a challenge for all of us. We have to think of how to make this happen if we really want to grow and sustain. If we really want to grow and sustain, these things will happen. So Gurudev said, bridge making, preaching. 2, integrating the spiritual and the material without losing focus. Integrating the material and the spiritual without losing focus. So this integrating the material and the spiritual means having our 2 feet on the balance, on the ground. We must work out our constitutional duties. At the same time, we must not neglect the conditional duties. A householder should not neglect providing rent for his dependents. He should not neglect providing food for. In fact, in the past time of Lord Chaitanya, when Vasudev Datta was so renounced that he was neglecting his household, practically neglecting it, and he was so renowned, immediately Lord Chaitanya personally told Shivananda, say you make sure that Vasudev Datta has provision for his dependents. Why? Because Vasudev Datta was so expert in maintaining this balance. He was the one in charge of organizing all the devotees, moving them from Navadvip to Jagannath Puri on foot, crossing bridges, crossing rivers. He made all the arrangement proactive. Before the people get there, there's arrangement to cross everyone. Where the night will fall, he has identified it, and there is tents. There are tents to accommodate all those who are moved. So this proactive approach we have to adopt, unless we want to consider ourselves as not the head, but maybe the legs. Then who are we to? Are we going to bring back Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Krishna back from where he is to come and do it for us? Or we're going to invoke Srila Prabhupada to come back and come and do it for us? Because unfortunately, we have become the leaders now, whether we accept it or not. We are the leaders. We are the senior devotees amongst the Bhaktisiddhanta Swami disciples. So it is our responsibility. So the sooner we throw away our individual differences and come on board to think of how we can make the whole thing wholesome and enjoyable for everyone, the better. Before then, we should consider ourselves not meeting up with our expectations. So this is where we are. We don't want to blame anybody, but we are failing ourselves in this way. So the sooner we make some arrangements, otherwise very soon when we time to take care of our bodies and we live, we have not been able to put any mechanism in place for those who are coming behind. It's a failure, corporate failure for them. So we have a lot to do. We should take lesson from Maharaj Yudhishthira. Maharaj Yudhishthira's story here is relevant to us. He is the head and is trying to make proactive arrangements to carry everybody along. Therefore, he said, oh, this fund we have in our treasury is not enough. This fund from tax collection and fines is not enough. It's only enough for internal management. But for bigger things to happen, because he's a devotee, he's not just satisfied with keeping his body fit and living happily. He has to do something extra to glorify the Lord. A devotee lives in a way that the end of his life is all glory to Krishna. He brings people together to glorify God. That is a devotee. Yes, that was the basis of Maharaj Yudhishthira, performing that sacrifice also where Krishna was to be worshipped. What is his name? It has a technical name, where Krishna had to be worshipped. When people are the leaders in the world, are becoming godless, Jarasandha and the rest, were becoming so godless, not recognizing the position. He made arrangements to bring everybody together, all the kings together, so that Krishna will be worshipped as the number one person. Then everybody will take advantage. The devotees knew, but the non-devotees know that it's what a Sankirtan strategy to bring them closer and inject them with the understanding that Krishna is the master. So devotee's life is like that. A devotee is not just satisfied, living nicely by himself, being able to eat whatever he likes, being able to get a nice accommodation for himself. He's not satisfied with that. That is just the camp. For him to go ahead to do his main duty. We have a duty. A devotee is not satisfied with that. A devotee is satisfied when Krishna is glorified. Why? Because he knows that that is the medicine. This is the medicine for all the suffering conditioned souls in the age of Kali. Constant hearing and chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Here, Maharaj Yudhishthira is going to perform Rajasuya sacrifice. Why? For what purpose? For the purpose of atoning for the sins that he feels that have been committed for fighting with his kinsmen. Okay? So he's going to perform a sacrifice. This sacrifice is going to perform not based on from the advice from Maharaj Bhismadev, who is an expert, who is a professor in the art of living before dying. How to live, before dying. Bhismadev is a professor. And therefore, he injected it into Maharaj Yudhishthira that if he wants to be happy, if he's thinking of atoning for all that, then is to do this Rajasuya sacrifice. So he wants to do the sacrifice. But he realized that the fund he needed, he has, is just for internal management. Therefore, he needs more fund. So he's going to plan how to get more fund. And a lot is needed. So you have to think ahead of time. So this is how we should also do as devotees who are trying to maintain a balance, who want to be seen as proper devotees. We should care for those who are with us. We should think ahead proactively to give some kind of basic, foundation for everybody. We should think ahead. So this is the purpose of this verse. Maharaj Yudhishthira is being directed by Maharaj Bhismadev. We are being directed by our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and our gurus, our immediate gurus, who are in the line of the Parampara. And the past gurus, their mission is one. Their mission is to take all conditioned souls back to the lotus feet of Krishna. So people are taking different kind of shelter. Let us know that, yes, it is good that we try to make arrangement to make a balance. Very, very good. But we should not become comfortable there. Therefore, I say, however, we should be very, very careful that we are not the doers. However, we should be very, very careful to maintain a proper consciousness that we are not the doers of anything. Whether we are able to succeed, plan big, and make wonderful arrangements, we are not the doers. We should remove ourselves from the center. Because actually, Krishna is the doer. So in other words, we should do whatever we are going to do in Krishna consciousness, proper Krishna consciousness. And Krishna consciousness means we know that Krishna is the ultimate doer. We are only doing our parts. Just as he was instructing Arjuna not to do it, not to give up his fight, he has to do his duty. We have to do our duty, but the result belongs to Krishna. The result belongs to Krishna. Krishna that will determine the success of failure. but we just do our own part. While doing our own part without being lazy, giving up lethargy, we should remember that it's Krishna who is the ultimate doer. Therefore, you see what Prahlad Maharaj said. Prahlad Maharaj is one of the 12 Mahajans. Swayambhu Narada Sambhu who is the other one? Kumara, Prahlado, Kumara, the 4 Kumaras. Prahlado, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Manu is one of the authorities. Prahlad Maharaj, Kumara, Prahlado, Manu. Before I got to, okay, Prahlado, Janako, Bhismo, Bali, Bayasaki, Bayam. These 12 Mahajans. These are 12 universal authorities. And they are there to give the direction, what we should do. And the spiritual masters are representing them. So, Yudhishthira got direction from Bhisma, one of them. We are getting direction from the representatives of Bhisma, the spiritual masters, who are representatives of the Parampara or the Mahajans also. So their direction is that we should put Krishna in the center, as Krishna has said, while doing our duties. Krishna is the center. We are doing our duty for the satisfaction of Krishna. So while doing that, we should not become attached to the results. That if there is success, we are happy. But when there is failure, we are sad. That means we are still putting ourselves in the center. That we should walk in Krishna consciousness, proper Krishna consciousness. But walk, we should walk, but in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, he said, the Prahlad Maharaj said this. My dear Lord Nrsingadev, it is not that the shelter of a child is the parents. No. This is this was a class given by Srila Prabhupada, a lecture given by Srila Prabhupada, but he quoted Prahlad Maharaj like this. Say, my dear Lord Nrsingadev, it is not that the shelter of a child is the parents. No. Similarly, the shelter of the patient is not the physician. The shelter of a drowning man is not the boat or big ship. So we have manufactured so many shelters. A child is taking shelter of his parents, a diseased person is taking shelter of the physician, a drowning man is taking shelter of a boat. So Prahlad Maharaj says, all these shelters are actually not shelters. They are not shelters. The shelter is your lordship. Yes, because if you neglect somebody, all these shelters will not work. If the Lord approves, if the Lord does not approve of your endeavor, it will not work. Therefore, the actual shelter is Krishna. Okay? So let us get this right. We should do our duty without attachment to the results. Our duty we should do. Yes. Because the actual shelter, if Krishna wants to protect somebody, no one can kill him. And if Krishna wants to kill somebody, no one can protect him. So the actual shelter is Krishna. He sanctions. And in the Bhagavad Gita also, there is a verse that supports this. What is that verse? Upadrasta Anumanta Cha Bharata Bhukta Maheswara Paramatmeti Chapi Ukto Dehesmi Purusa Para. Krishna is the Upadrasta, is the overseer, and is also Anumanta, is the permitter. So he is there in the heart as the super soul, giving permission and is overseeing all what we are doing. So he approves before anything can become really manifest. Then again, in the same Bhagavad Gita 18:14, there is a verse there, 18:14. Adhistanam tata karta karanam chaprita vidam vividas chaprita chesta daivam chaivatrapam tamam. That Adhistanam, the place, The place is the body. The place of work is the body. This body is the place, the field of activity. Karta, the doer, that is the soul. Karana, the instrument, that means the various senses. Then chesta, chesta means the endeavor, various endeavors. Then, at last, the super soul or the Ivam. These are the 5 factors. These are the 5 factors for every action. So many people take to the first 4, but they don't understand the 5th one, the actions of the 5th one. It is the 5th one, the Devam, the super soul, that actually approves. Otherwise, it will not work. The physician can treat, but the child will die. Therefore, our parents cannot save us. It is Krishna who can save us. If our parents can save us, then they should be able to save us from death. Otherwise, they are not reliable shelter. They are shelter to some extent. They are shelters. They are not ultimate shelters. So we should have this understanding and do our work and not become too attached to success or failure, but we should just do our work, man, and become like Santushta, become satisfied with the gain which comes of his own accord. After doing our own part, we leave the rest for Krishna to approve and to make us a success or failure. So this is the point. But work, we must work. We should be proactive. So this is the purpose of this class. Having said this much, I would like to say that as devotees, there is something very, very important. We should always remember that there are 5 components of surrender. And among these 5 components of surrender, one of them is very, 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 very important. Among the 5 components of surrender, all are important too. The first one is Anukulyasya Sankalpa. Anukulyasya Sankalpa, accepting only those things that are favorable to the execution of devotional service. The second one is Pratikulyasya Bhajana, rejecting all those things that are unfavorable to the execution of devotional service. Then the third one is Rashishya Titi Disvaso. This is the third one. And I'm saying this is the most important, the conviction that Krishna will give protection. We have to be strongly convinced that it is Krishna who can give protection, who can save us in all circumstances. And he promised that, my friend, for one who does good is never overcome by it. That to my exclusive devotees, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So we should always be conscious of the Krishna factor, the Devam, the 5th factor for action. Okay? So this is very, very important. That Krishna is always there for us. It is not our endeavor that brings anything. But while maintaining that understanding, we should do our work. We should do our duty. So remove ourselves from the center and do our duties and leave the rest for Krishna. So this is the purpose of this verse. Okay? Hare Krishna. So in a nutshell, we say that under the instruction, under the advice of Bhismadev, Maharaj Yudhishthira is preparing to collect more funds to do the Rajasuya sacrifice. He's trying to get more funds. We're thinking ahead of time, and you know that every project needs some fund. And you know that the body must be maintained, the soul must be maintained. The soul is living in the house. The body is the house. You have to maintain your house if you want to be healthy. So the body needs to be maintained, the soul needs to be maintained. There has to be a balance. And that balance is that we should do our part and we should know that it's Krishna. So we should give more attention to the spiritual aspect of our lives. While doing our conditional duty, we should never forget that the constitutional duty is our eternal duty. Conditional duty will die along with the body. So more focus to be on the spiritual. And the physical taking care we are doing is to enhance, is to give foundation for us to do our spiritual better. So please, 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 we are already being reminded here and there that our dark hair is getting white. It's a reminder. Dark and lovely hair is getting white now. It's a reminder that something is coming. The body will be taken. We are going to lose our bodies. That is the reminder. That which has been very strong is going to become weak and old. Invalidity will replace vitality. All our joints will become weak very soon. Physical body. This physical body is going to fail us. So if the focus, too much focus on the physical body and trying to make the physical body comfortable, when the body fails us, all the things we gather around it are going to go with it. So our advice is, while trying to make comfortable arrangement to accommodate the body and make it very nice, we should never lose sight of the main thing, which is spiritual. So this is a help. Take care of your body so that you can balance yourself to do your spiritual activity. We should not eat. The Kami's, they live to eat. Yes, in a nutshell, in the material world, people live to eat. Oh, I've been eating in a mama put joint. Now I'm able to eat in a 5-star restaurant. And now, next tomorrow, I'll be able to eat in 10-star restaurant. I've been riding bicycle before, but I've gotten a Okada. Tomorrow, I'll be able to get a car, 30's car. From 30's car, I will graduate to 4-wheel. And among the 4-wheel, I will get the best of the 4 wheels. So in this way, we are eating, we are living to eat. We are just living to eat, just trying to maximize sense gratification. It should not be. Rather, we should eat to live. We should eat to live means we only go for that which is necessary for the maintenance of the body, so that we can use that maintained body and the senses there in the service of the riskers. This is how we should approach. Please, while taking care of our conditional duties, we should not forget our constitutional duty as our actual duty. Therefore, devotional service is the ultimate treasure. We should not trade it for a stinking pot of sense gratification in any guise. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Shri Prema, Chaitanya Prema. So the Q&A begins now. Whoever has a question, I don't know if Chaitanya Prema also invites comments or whatever. Whatever anybody has to say, the floor is open. Well, Kusha Maharaj, you may unmute and ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
You made mention about living to eat or eating to live. My question is, why do we dwell so much emphasis on this kind of philosophies of living to eat or acquiring wealth? Why people in temple also are also living to live, eating to live? We ask a lot of donation from every people all around the world. Why do we always dwell on this topic? For me, it's too elementary. Eating and living, living or eating. I don't understand this kind of philosophy anymore. Can you please explain to me why we dwell on this all the time? Why we have a lot of philosophies to talk about?
Who's Baba? Hare Krishna. Because it is eating to live that is keeping us, or living to eat that is keeping us in the material world. It's just like always emphasizing, we are not this body. You can mute your. We are not this body, but we are spirit soul. We are not this body, but we are spirit soul. This is the basic, the ABC knowledge of spiritual life. This is the very first day we came into Krishna consciousness. This is the first philosophy we have. We are not these bodies, but we are spirit soul. The philosophy is there, but we are not acting accordingly. we are acting as if we are the body. So even after hearing so many instructions on this matter, we are still acting as if we are the body. Therefore, we cannot stop talking about this basic philosophy, reminding ourselves. It's a way of reminding ourselves constantly until individuals, those who take it seriously, will rise above. Those who have not heard it before, but who are coming to hear it now, can even become more serious than those who have heard it and are taking it for granted. So the same way, living to eat, I mean, just living for sense gratification, trying to maximize the sense gratification is the cause of our continuous suffering in the material world. So this is the brother to we are the body. I am a mate. No, I am the body. I am mine. Atagria, Chetra, Sutapta, Vitae, Janasia Moho, Nyam, Atamameti, Atagria, Chetra, Sutapta, Vitae, Janasia Moho, Nyam, Atamameti. Lord somebody said it long time. Atagria, Chetra, Suta, Apta, Vitae, Janasia Moho. This continuous illusion of material existence. Janasia Moho, Nyam, Ahamameti. So this is it. So we have to continue to talk about it till we leave our bodies. So please don't be tired of hearing it. We continue to talk it. Yeah, individuals who take it serious, we go beyond it and they start doing something different. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Salika Prabhu, sorry, Kavikanapur Prabhu, you may unmute.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Just it's a contribution to Kusha Prabhu's question. Me, my realization in the movement is that most of the time the preacher they generally will preach whatever is more of a concern to us. Like so, like let's say for example now there's some devotees they concentrate more about pure devotee. They talk about pure devotee because their own devotional service is about purity. And some people they talk about material life, how it has to be balanced because that's what they are thinking in their mind. So I'm thinking every preacher will preach according to how he understands the philosophy and how he wants to present it to others. So in my own question would be that, yes, you mentioned many things about the leaders and we have to do this, we have to do that. My question is that at what point that we begin to mature and we don't even need to talk about leaders again. We just want to talk about what we ourselves we are going to do. Because the leadership problem is everywhere in the world, everywhere in the country, everywhere. It's a major crisis. Why devotees not venture into this department in the world? Like Srila Bhadita Swami Maharaj, he wrote wonderful books about leadership in the highest, stage of, what is the title of that book? Leadership in the age of consciousness, or highest stage of consciousness. Yes, something like that. Yes. It's a big crisis in the world. So we devotees, we're not supposed to be talking about leadership. That is our problem. We should start practicing it and start showing the world because everybody knows in this world that is the crisis, that is the major crisis, especially in Africa where we use it to oppress others. So what can we do about this? Instead of talking about our problem, we should always focus on solution. Prabhu, that is my question. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Babaji. Kavi Kanapura, why are you going behind the scene? We want to see the real face, not picture. Picture is also real.
I've said whatever I want to say now. I'm hearing you. I want to hear you now.
So that I can be assessing your reactions when I'm talking. I will know how to.
You don't need to assess my reaction. Just speak. I'm hearing you.
So Prabhuji, you know what? I am one of those who only talk about the topic. If there is a topic, if there is a test, I don't even try to talk about the next test. I can mention the test before this, something about the test before this, but I limit myself to the present test. And this present test is a very serious test. It talks about leadership. it talks about leadership and management. So I feel that the universal administrators want me to talk about it. That's why they give me this test. And that's why I'm talking about it. And the way I've talked about it, I believe I talked about it moderately, with moderation. And I'm not exempting myself from having shortcomings there. We are all part of it. So preaching, talking about me, talking about our own self, what we can all do to move the thing ahead. We are all doing our part. Everybody is doing our part, but we need to do more. This is what we are saying. As Gurudev said, coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress, but working together is success. We have come together, we have begun. We are keeping together, we are progressing, but we must work together. That is success. So we cannot work together if the thinking faculty is not properly aligned. This is what we are talking about. Mother Yudhishthira is the leader of this group, and his main concern is how to get sufficient funds, because the fund in the treasury is not enough. The fund in the treasury is not enough for bigger programs. It's only subsistence for internal management. So he's thinking ahead how to do something bigger to generate more funds. So this is a component of management. And that is why I talk about this. But sometimes there's a tendency for devotees to think that it is by their own arrangement, by their own expertise in managing things that things are actually happening. Therefore, I try to point out that there should be a balance. While doing our management, even expertly, we should know that it is the Lord who is the final doer. And we manage nicely so that we can be able to do devotional service. We can spare extra time to do devotional service. So the focus is not on managing nicely, but managing nicely so that people can happily do devotional service nicely. Because that is the only duty we actually have to do. Otherwise, death will take everything away. That fact is clear. It's a fact. Death is there to take everything away. And we are not, wait, we are not frightening people. We are not frightening people with death. But death is actually there. So we, somebody's, so that is why we are talking about this. So Prabhu, I'm sorry, I did not talk to try to, I'm not having some people in mind while talking. There is a general topic, and I limit myself only to that topic. That Maharaj Yudhishthira was proactive. We should become proactive in our management. We should think for the well-being of the people. I made reference to Upananda. Upananda was bringing, he has to lead the community into Vrindavan because there are more grasses, more green grasses, more fresh water, more fruits for everyone to sustain. So basically, we should think of how to make it easier for everyone to happily do devotional service. So this is the point I was hammering.
CHAITANYA PRABHU.
Go, Ranga.
So what I was trying to say is that, yeah, what you are saying is right. But what I'm saying is that, as you mentioned rightly, we are all leaders. So like, as you have come to talk about leadership today, what I'm saying about practical solution to our problem is that you are the leader of the Ministry of Education Ministry. So what are the practical solutions to take the Ministry of Education to the next level? Because when we continue to make big plain fixed pictures, we'll be going here and there, and at the end of the day, we'll be blaming other people's savor and be talking about other people's favor. But what I'm trying to say, what are the practical solutions for us to move forward? Now, today, you are in charge of education. So what are the things you have put in place? I was expecting you, when you are preparing for this lecture, you will have prepared for that practical things on the table of your own leadership. Because when we continue to generalize, Prabhu, we will not go anywhere. I promise you, 100%, 200%. You understand? What are the practical things that you have brought to the table to take the Ministry of Education to the next level in the West Africa? That devotee, after undergoing this spiritual education, they will feel that they are now ready to go and bomb the world. Just like the Muslim, they are being brainwashed and they are ready to bomb the world. They are ready to contribute. So what are the practical things we are putting on the table as a leadership in the education ministry to take this movement to the next level? Because education is very important. When we talk about leadership, if people are not properly educated, how they are going to be a good leader? So that is what I'm trying to say, and that is what I want you to put more light there. What are your practical solutions of leadership in education ministry that you are heading that is going to take us to the next level in ISKCON? Thank you, Prabhu.
Babaji, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, excuse me, before you answer, I just want to throw a little bit more light on something Kabikana Prabhu said. I mean, I understand he's speaking out of love and concern, but we as Hare Krishna devotees understand that, like, people who do stupid things in the name of Allah are not actually true Muslims. So we do not believe that Muslims are being taught to act in such hateful manner.
No, Prabhu. No, that's what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
But they have been brainwashed. They have been brainwashed.
The way it appeared, the way you said it, even though we
No.
Others listening may not understand it exactly.
Yes, I understand it.
Yes,
I understand you. But what I'm trying to say is that knowledge is power. What I'm trying to say is that knowledge is power. When people hear properly and they're properly educated, they are ready to give their life. That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. Okay, so Chaitanya Prema Prabhu, you may go ahead.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
Then after that, we go to Kusha Prabhu.
Thank you very much. See, you are also a manager. When the education,
Prabhu, don't talk about me. Don't talk about me. Don't talk about me.
Wait first. You address me and you want me to give personal application. So that's why I'm starting from you also. You are a manager. And when I was appointed, you were also appointed to write job description for all the ministries. So that will be the beginning point. But the job description has not come. Why has it not come? I'm not asking you to answer the question.
No, Prabhu. See, that is the problem. That is the problem we are having
now.
You are trying to defend yourself by attacking others.
No,
that is your problem. That is the problem we are having. So the job description is there. Is even though if you yourself want your job description is there in ISKCON law book. But as a Minister of Education, what are you doing to bring this law book? To bring this law book to all the managers so that they can study this law book, ISKCON law book. Everything is there. I've gone there and I've brought everything out and I've given to the person who gave me the work. You are not the one who gave me the service now. I give it to him. If you have not passed it to you, you should ask him. What I'm trying to say is that is our problem here. We attack others by defending, we defend by attacking others. But what I'm saying that, what are the practical solutions?
Right now.
Hare Krishna.
When we are talking about leadership, if we generalize leadership and say, leaders, we are not doing like this, we are not doing like that, we are not going to go anywhere. That is why I say we want every individual to come out and say, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do, to take this movement to the next level.
Kavi, okay, thank you. Sorry, Chaitanya Prema, sorry, wait. Chaitanya Prema, wait, please. I am not new to debates. In fact, I love debates, which is beautiful because it brings out our passion. But I would beg that we try to address issues in general sense without making a direct personal references. So in that case, Kavikan Prabhu was given like a general question, how we can progress as an organization. So Chaitanya Prema, you were also trying to explain in a general sense, but you did mention it. So I'm just suggesting that we stay away from the name callings and then we address it in a general way. Okay, Hare Krishna. Chaitanya Prema, you may unmute. You are muted.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the point is that the point I wanted to make is that first, when you talk of management, the first point is environmental scanning. Understand? You scan the environment to identify your strengths and weaknesses. And you make a SWOT analysis. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities? And what are our threats? You make SWOT analysis. Then you ask yourself strategic questions. What are our resources? Are resources lying idle? Why are resources lying idle? How do we maximize the use of these resources? These are strategic questions you should ask and try to answer. So in the educational ministry, we know that all these ministries are, for instance, they are part of an organization, it's a part of a structure. The educational ministry is within a structure. That means they have people they have to be accountable to. But what I want to say is that we have a flaw in our general approach, because when appointment is made, the ministry is established, the ministry should be facilitated. Here is a situation whereby we have created ministries, but there are no offices. How can a minister operate without office? Without any blueprint on what to do? You just go, you are appointed as a minister, you go and operate. I said we should work on these things. And these are the work of the top level management, because even though as ministers, we still have people ahead of us. Who we consider the top level of the thinking faculty, they have a role to play. Then we are approaching them. So before you can get them to come to listen to it, it takes some time. And this is why we have not come on board fully. Okay, if we cannot create physical offices, which is cumbersome, especially in the present age, we have to create electronic offices. And luckily the finance minister is here. Electronic offices constitute having proper laptops, having proper phones, and having proper, cameras and things like that. And above that, we need a website in which all these ministries are infused as pages. So when they do their electronic work, they submit electronically also. This is what makes the world a global village. So the website has not been created. The ministries have not been facilitated. But still, we are still doing whatever we can do from wherever we have. You have heard of this Bhakti Sasri program we are doing. We are doing Bhakti Sasri program. We are doing Bhakti Bible program. Because if we say we want to educate people, we have to start with those who are already there first. Let us have a strong philosophical foundation. Because at the beginning as sadakas, we need strong intellectual conviction to know that, so that we know what we are doing. We know it very well, then we know how to do it. Strong intellectual conviction. Like Bhagavad Gita says, Yehi Sansprasaja Bhuga, Duka Yonaya Ebate, that all the sufferings we are having are due to the senses, bringing the senses in contact with their objects. Therefore, an intelligent man does not partake in that. So if we understand this very deeply, we not just be indulging ourselves in all kinds of sense gratifications. So that is on one part. While that is on one hand, the other hand is that we have to go deeper. We have to be internally active. When we refrain from external sense indulgence, because a goddess cannot become peaceful. A servant of the senses cannot become peaceful. When we become fully convinced and we start practicing that, we become internally connected. Strong sadhana is a must. Strong determination to carry out the order of the Guru is a must. When we are able to establish this in the heart of the few people we have, then we can take it on from there. They can represent us. They can represent all the plans we are having. So this is what we are doing, particularly myself. This is what I'm doing. And you know particularly that I've been into this for a number of years. And now the next plan is how to engage these people that we have produced. That we need the whole total organization. We need an overall, structural harmony to be able to carry these things effectively. So that's where we are. And we are still talking about this leadership today because these tests have brought it up and there are things left hanging unaddressed by the leaders. We need to start addressing these things. So this is where we are. The necessity of the leaders waking up to their responsibility is brought here to light by the universal arrangement. And I, Chaitanya Prema, have been appointed to talk about this. And I'm talking about this. And Krishna has arranged that you are there. The Minister of Finance is there. And everyone else is there. So that we can take it up from there. We have to talk about it until we start doing the practical writing. So that is it. We can't stop.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Krishna Prabhu, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. I like this topic of too much money, excess fund in the tax of this verse that was given to Chaitanya Prabhu to talk about. We see that Maharaj Yudhishthira said there is not enough fund in the treasury. He was working to make this money, excess cash. But we always hear philosophy that we shouldn't pursue this money. So without pursuing this money, how do we function? Printing of books, building temples, food for life, buying a vehicle for Harinam. So my only comment on this verse is that we see that how pure devotees, real pure devotees, always worry about finance to propagate their missions. But we who are not even pure devotees don't have the money. We want to renounce this money. So can you explain how can we walk through this kind of philosophy? We pure devotees in the scripture are worried about not having enough fund in the tax collection. They want to raise this money. And we who don't have the money, who want to renounce this money.
Kusa Baba, Dandawa Pranams. With you, more money will come. But we need more mature people. We need mature people to pursue this money and maintain balance at the same time. This is what we are saying. We are not against devotees making money. If you heard me right. All my focus is, all my talk is that we should do our duty. We should make money. We need money. But while looking for the money, we should be careful not to lose focus. We should not go overboard while looking for the money. Overboard means the point of overboard comes in when, in the course of looking for the money, in the name of looking for the money, we have no time to chant our rounds anymore. We have no time to associate with devotees anymore. We have no time to hear Bhagavatam class anymore. We have no time to do our basic daily sadhana. This is what I mean. That we should never trade our spiritual practices in pursuit of this money. After all, this money, we are still going to leave our body and leave the money behind. So while looking for the money, we should be ready to maintain a healthy balance. This is the advice. And it's transcendental. It's not selfish, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you. I personally find the class very interesting, very beautiful, based on the text, the purport, and your comment on what you read. Very interesting. Recently, His Holiness Kavichandra Swami Maharaj posted a video on our WhatsApp platform, and it was Rameshwara Prabhu who was speaking. And in that video, he was saying how Srila Prabhupada was very bold and was asking the whole world that if they want real leadership, they should come to us. That's what Srila Prabhupada was saying. Now, my question is in regards to this, because verse 31 and 32 talk about leadership and management, what you discussed today, and that's what you addressed. Now, in 2008, there was financial crisis all over the world. So US declared itself recession. So there was recession in 2008. And on CNN, there was one economist who used to come on there and explain how one can practice or live a life that he wouldn't run bankrupt. And funny enough, some few weeks or months into the recession, he became bankrupt. The economist himself became bankrupt and was again reinvited to CNN. And the host asked him, you came here and telling us many times how to live in our lives in such a way that we do not become bankrupt, but you yourself became bankrupt. And he admitted, he says, yes, I'm bankrupt. So we are telling people that we have every tool to lead. We have every tool to manage. Yet we cannot do it. So how then do we tell people and get them convinced that we have the tools to help lead the world? How do we do that when people see us unable to manage ourselves, yet we claim that we have the tools to manage others? You know, there is the popular saying, physician, heal thyself. So please throw some light on this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Actually, we are not managers, it's Krishna that manages. So the ultimate manager is Krishna. So there's nothing wrong in telling people to surrender to Krishna, take shelter of Krishna, because he's the supreme manager. Okay? One becomes a good manager when he considers Krishna's satisfaction as the, the impetus for his management. So this we should do. Otherwise, any management, any activity done so expertly that is not connected to pleasing the Lord, not aimed at pleasing the Lord, it's a waste of time. I was just looking through to identify.
Prabhuji, I'm sorry, before you continue to answer this question, I think this is part of the reason why Kavikanda Prabhu was like a bit hyped, because when something good happens, we say, yay, we did it. When something doesn't happen, we say we are not the doer, right? So, but Krishna, even though Krishna knew that he himself has already finished everybody on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but he still asks Arjuna, he says, do it, because I want you to take the glory.
Yeah.
And so when somebody is in the position of leadership and that person fails, he takes the blame. If he wins, if he becomes successful, he takes the glory. So I would want you to delineate and differentiate at what point do we say that this is Krishna. Krishna didn't want it to happen, that's why it did not happen. Or I did it and Krishna let it happen. Like you said in your beautiful class that Krishna is the ultimate person that approves of whatever we do. He sanctions. But we should also remember that sanctioning and approving is not the same as doing. You do it, and then when Krishna is pleased, and then he sanctions or he approves of it. Is that not the case? But sometimes we say that we are not the doer, Krishna is the doer. If you are telling me, I don't mean you as a person, Prabhuji. If we are telling people that you as an individual, you are not the doer, then that person will say, okay, if I'm not the doer, then I will sit somewhere idle. After I'm not the one doing it, it's Krishna doing it. But we understand that we do it, and when Krishna is happy to see it happen, then he sanctions it. So there cannot be sanction without action. So I would want you to throw a little bit more light on this leadership canker that we have in our movement worldwide, whereby you say that everybody is a leader, which I disagree. Not everybody is a leader, because we have the parts of the body, which is the Varnashram. The head is said to be the leader, The leg is not the leader, even though it's part of the body. And so you, me, may all be different parts of the body, but there are people who are the head, who are the leaders. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, that is there, but every individual is a complete unit. You know that? In your own body, there is head. In my own body, there is head. In everybody's body, there is head. So each and every person is a leader of your senses. You have senses, I have senses. Everyone else has senses. So will you come and lead my senses for me, control my senses for me? I have to control my senses by myself. So by that, I'm a leader. If you are the head of a family, you have to lead by example. You are the leader of the family. The mother has a role. That means whatever anyone else does has an effect on anyone else that is around. So at any point when your activities are going to be to influence somebody else, then you hold the responsibility of being a leader who is not doing his work or who is doing his work. So we are all leaders. It's a call for responsibility. This type of you are a leader, we are all leaders. It's a call for responsibility. Okay? Okay? Just
listen, in Ghana, Ghana is ruled by a government of democracy, right? Nigeria, democracy. US, democracy. Lots of countries, democracy. And democracy is defined as government of the people, for the people, by the people. Now, how much say do you as a person have in the Ghana government? How much? How much say do I have in the US government? Even though they say it's by the people, and I'm one of the people, my voice gets nowhere. It might get somewhere, but up to what point? So I think part of the reason is that we try to generalize things and say that everyone is a leader, and so everybody should play their part, which is a fact to some extent. But the main person, being the president, he is responsible for the success or the failure of the nation. And until we admit that, and we, the ordinary members of the organization, realize and understand that the head has a special responsibility, and if that particular head does not perform as expected, we have every right to say what we have to say to that particular leader to do the right thing in a respectful manner, not in antagonistic or like in a rude, disrespectful manner. But you tell the person, Prabhuji, I think you should do this way, you should do that way, because I just listened to, I just attended Srimad Bhagavatam class today, and the teacher were discussing the person of Bhishma Dev. And so he was saying in the class that everything Bhishma Dev, every instruction Bhishma Dev gave to Maharaj Yudhishthira was not a concocted teachings. He was quoting from history. So I am expecting that at least in our region, we come to understand that despite the fact that we are all leaders, but those who are in the actual leadership terms should also be made to understand that they have responsibilities. I wouldn't mention them here, but I understand. Chaitanya Prabhu, you would know this person. A devotee attempted establishing a temple in Ghana, and simply because that devotee at the time was a brahmachari, the authorities told him that you cannot establish a new temple in a distant place out of Accra because you are brahmachari. I mean, how, and that devotee couldn't establish the temple because even though he's a leader, but his superior leader told him you cannot do it, and he couldn't do it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, Prabhuji, thank you very much. We are all leaders, but at the same time, we all have our limitations, you know?
Yeah.
Yes, you are a leader within an organization. There's an organizational leader also. There's hierarchy of leadership. So there are boundaries. So that is, and these boundaries constitute a lot of bottlenecks. And this is part of the things we are saying. That some of these people who are on top are also neglecting what they're supposed to do. And it was Upananda and few others who decided for everybody. And they relocated to Vrindavan. But they were the leaders. And this is also applicable in our movement. But we are trying to be careful because this is a cultural movement whereby hierarchy is highly respected. So many rules and regulations guiding relationships. So that's why we try to be careful and quickly run to the point that everybody should do his part, so that because it's the people that make the leaders and the leaders make. We are just trying to approach the matter with some humility and not the rest. But if we want to go categorical, everybody knows the boundary and we may end up offending each other. So that's why we try to avoid offenses by, you know, all kinds of, a kind of volatile approach. We try to take it and start from where we are. But even with the individual soul, Krishna being the doer, the individual soul is a doer also. Even in that country, the individual soul is a doer. Material nature is a doer. But one is primary, one is secondary. You see? And one is just there to approve whatever we are. Then it gives you responsibility for taking such decisions, and you have to suffer until you get realization and purification to come to the right thing. So these things are there. Technical details are there.
I am suggesting that at least from time to time, there should be some sort of meetings for leadership and management in various zones, because it's part of our movement. It's a necessity. I know we are all taught to be humble, and we're all trying to be humble. But I also believe that silence and inaction is not the same as humility. You know, being silent or being inactive does not mean one is humble. Kavikan Prabhu, please email mute and ask your question.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. It's great. Chaitanya Prema Prabhu ki jai. So Chaitanya Prema Prabhu, whatever I've said, don't take it personal. I'm just a person who is trying to reset my brain in a way of thinking in another way. That whatever problem there is there in society, it's obvious that everybody is going to see the problem. But me, I'm trying to reset my brain in a way now that what can I do to affect change in where I am? If I know I cannot affect change, I should go far away and just try to live my life. Instead of saying this person is a problem, that person is a problem, and me myself, I'm not doing anything. And some other people who are following me also, they say me also I'm a problem to them also. So we see that this world is very complicated. So that is why I'm trying to reset my brain in a way that I don't find fault in what other people are doing, because if I find myself in that situation, if I'm criticizing them, if tomorrow I find myself in that situation also, I can promise you are going to do worse. Everybody is going to think that you are in their way. So, but if I cannot do anything in my present situation now, in my present position now, to show a little light for people that there is hope for them in wherever I'm being placed, forget whether they are giving me an office, they are not giving me office, they're giving material. There should be some light of hope that people will say, oh, this Prabhu is trying. Even though he's not giving a facility, see what he can achieve. In that way, I'm not saying that you are not doing your best. I'm just saying that we should try to think less about the faults and just think more about what can I do to make a difference? What can I do to make a difference? Even though I'm not giving all the facility, what can I do to make a difference? I think in that way, one day, somebody is going to make a turnaround. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you. I was even thinking that we will say that, oh, Chaitanya Prema, we are doing so well. From nowhere, you are able to establish these statutory courses, and you are managing it through to these points. We have produced many graduates. Last week, yesterday, we just did one exams. Coming Sunday, we are doing exams. Are we able to do it?
This is what I wanted. This is what I was expecting you to say.
Recognize. You should recognize.
This is what I want you to be saying. This is what I want you to be saying.
Prabhu.
I'm doing this. I'm doing that. This is what I'm doing. Forget about others. Forget about what I don't have. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. We are agreeing Baptist Church every Saturday and Sunday. Positive vibes. Positive vibes. That is the only thing that can change the environment. Thank you.
It's okay. So we are doing.
Well, Chaitanya Prema
want
to clarify himself. You know, he said, somebody like you seeing what he's doing is appropriate to clarify him. But well taken. Well, okay. Do you have something else to say about that, Chaitanya Prema? Somebody asked a question.
The thing is that actually we have to try and facilitate the ministries. The ministries that have been appointed, we have to create electronic offices for them. First, we have to make a website in West Africa. We have to create a website. Then we should create pages in the website where all these ministries and all other.
I don't want to hear we have to create. I'm going to create a website for the ministry. I'm going to do this. You are the leader there.
You and me must come together and do it. I want you to come on board so that we can do it well. We can do it better if more than one head is involved. This is the point.
Yeah.
Yes. Everybody has.
Let me tell you a little history about Mayapur Institute. He started by what is the name of that Prabhu? Is who was leading Jamastami Prabhu. He will struggle alone. He will go to America and raise funds and come to Mayapur. Now the Prabhu has renounced it to somebody else. You understand? So that is what I had to make a big today. Now the Mayapur Institute is the one who gave back to Vrindavan Institute. You understand? So what I'm trying to say is, so somebody have idea and vision, and he put all his energy and all his passion and all everything, and because he's chanting at the Krishna mantra, Krishna will fulfill his vision, but not minding that there is no money now. Krishna will bring the money for him. He will bring somebody who will pump money for him. The person should just be positive. I want to do this. I want to make a website. Write out everything down and begin to tell to people. As we are talking on this platform now, somebody may just say, maybe Prabhu will say, oh, Prabhu, you need to make a website. Okay, I have one bhakta. He make a website. Okay, I will connect you with him. What are your things you want to do? As you are talking to people. Somebody will do that. That is what we are saying. Before you know, you start making a corner around.
That's what we are saying also. Hare Krishna. So let us make a website and let all the ministries come as pages there. Me, I stand there because there are electronic offices. The world is a global village because of this level of interconnectivity. So let us also take advantage as a movement, a dynamic movement. We should not remain behind. We should adapt to the changes. Let us create electronic offices, and from there we can function from wherever we are. This is my suggestion. And if you have anybody who is good at this, internet stuff, go ahead.
Yes. So our dear brother is now having a very beautiful name, Anadi Nidanam. Anadi Nidanam Prabhu.
Anadi Nidanam. Okay.
Yes, Anadi Nidanam Prabhu. So, Prabhu, you may unmute and ask a question. Such a very beautiful name you had.
Well, Prabhu, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhu, one thing I wanted to mention is talking about leaders. I'm thinking that we should blame ourselves also because we put them at the helm of affairs. So if they are not performing, I think it has to bounce back to us. So that is the way I'm looking at it. Because if a government is not performing, it's we who elected such a person to be in the helm of affairs. So we cannot blame him because we don't have the eyes to see, but yet we put them there. And moreover, I'm thinking that those people we are putting in the helm of affairs, they are not well trained, but yet nobody is there. That's why we are putting them there. Because not to blame anybody also, in our locality, I've seen that, yeah, when one is about to leave the office of being a temporary president, it's because of nobody is available. We try to put somebody in there just for the position not to be vacant. So I think it's because of we are not having a well-trained people. In the case of Parikshit Maharaj and Maharaj, they are well-trained people. That is why they've been able to excel. But in our case, we don't have well-trained people, but yet we put them on the helm of affairs. So I think in one way, we have ourselves to be blamed. This is a new fight contribution. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So that means that we need training. Right?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Sorry.
Leadership and management training is going to be part of our Bachelor Institute for Culture and Education also.
Very good. This is what I want to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
So,
All right. Thank you so much, Chaitanya Prema Prabhuji.
thank you very much, Nadia Vaishnavas and Vaishnavas.
Now, Prabhuji, next time you come on late, every minute you're going to be charged 10 Ghana cedis. Okay. Every minute you are late, you're going to be charged 10 Ghana cedis.
Wow.
So you calculate how many minutes late you are, and then you pay that amount to the Hare Krishna Welfare Fund.
Wow. Okay.
That would be nice, right? That would be another way of trying. That would be tax and fines, you know. like Maharaj Yudhishthira is doing here. Okay.
We allow the finance minister to raise the finance minister to raise the fund for us.
Anybody else has anything else to say? All right, Hare Krishna. So, Anadi, do you have a question, or is the previous hands raised?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Okay,
the
go ahead.
previous hand. Yes.
Okay,
No,
okay.
it's the previous hand that's been raised. Please.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
So
thank
at
you.
this point, we ask all the devotees to unmute, and then we chant to beg Hare Krishna to express our appreciation to our speaker, His Grace Chaitanya Prema Prabhu. Jai. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare.
All
Thank you.
glory
Jai
to
Chaitanya
Grace
Prabhu.
Chaitanya Prema Ki Jai.
Thank you very
All
much.
glories to Anadi Nidanam Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Harichakra Prabhu, welcome. Good. Narani Devi Dasi, impersonal, but welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Elikaji.
Shri Chaitanya Prema Prabhu ki jai.
Be selfless enough to give us your darshan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Selfishness is not allowed in the kingdom of God. Thank you.